Hello again, and greetings from the KOTOR universe. So, I am back with another Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic challenge run. This time, we have a fun challenge that I have never even tried in any RPG game made by BioWare, and that is the solo run. Although this feels entirely counterintuitive to the core gameplay to KOTOR, when you've played through every iteration, every party member configuration, and achieved what I believe is every ending possible, you sort of want to try something different, similar to the Blasters Only run I did previously. Thematically, we can argue a solo run in the KOTOR universe makes sense, but only if we go to the dark side. And after doing this run, on impossible difficulty mind you, I would say dark side is the worst playthrough for solo, but we will get into that as we progress through the run. So let's set the stage for the run. First off, let's go over our build. For this solo run, and my previous experience with impossible difficulty, I know for a fact that we are going to run against a lot of enemies, overtuned health bars, and saving throws. So generally, we will need to reload our saves to get lucky with better rolls. This led me down to this build path. We're going to do 7 levels in the Scoundrel class, and then 13 levels into Soldier. So for stat distribution, and at the start, we're going to do 18 points into Strength, 14 points into Dex, 14 points into Constitution, 8 points into Intelligence, 10 points into Wisdom, and then 8 points into Charisma. The levels of Scoundrel are really for us to just ram some needed points into skills that we won't be able to have once we reach Dantooine and become a soldier. So with a focus on stealth, that's really going to be where we want to put most of those points. The base feats that we receive from Scoundrel will also allow us to have Sneak Attack, which not only adds to our bonus rolls for surprise attacks, but will also let us sneak by any enemy groups that we may be worried about. Also, this is going to sound a little cheap, but in a lot of one-on-one encounters with the auto pause turned on, you will not be engaged in combat with your enemy, so you can actually toggle your stealth for an extra damage roll at the start. Feat-wise, since we're on a PC, we need to focus on getting dual weapons and power attack. As a Scoundrel, we won't have that many feats to grab, but that's okay, because any more that we're going to need, we'll get once we're in the Soldier class. And by Soldier, I should correct myself and say Jedi Guardian. However, starting with Critical Strike is actually going to be very important in the early game. We'll see that later. Once we reach the Jedi Guardian, we gain a lot more feats, but we lose skills. So our focus is to make sure that we round out our lightsaber specializations, grab Flurry just in case, and utilize our Force powers to get what we need for droids, which is going to be Force Lightning, Jedi Combat, which is we're going to make sure we get Force Suppression, and of course Drain Life for the last fight with Malak and his Gatorade Jedi packets. For gear, we have a lot less to worry about in comparison to our Blasters Only run. We're going to eventually want to get to just using double sabers instead of just the Darth Maul style, so we will need credits for Savamte's 2 unique Jedi crystals. But, as we learn through this run, dark side runs have way more credits than you should feasibly allowed to have in KOTOR. Not to mention, we also learn to save everything from Taris, and in general so that we could sell it here in Yavin 4's space station. For best in slot items, I'm just going to have this video playing here, which is the fight right before Malak, and this is everything that we have equipped. In the head slot, we have the Advanced Biostabilizer Mask. Hand slot is the Geno Haradan Power Gloves. On one arm slot, we have Brejik's Armband. For our belt, we use the Baragween Stealth Unit, and for our other arm, we utilize Usani's Dueling Shield, and for our chest, we utilize Revan's Robe, and of course we're using 2 lightsabers with the multi-attack feats. Now, with all of that listed out, let's put our rules out there, since we know going completely solo isn't always feasible in Knights of the Old Republic. Oh, and for fun, we went with the woman option for this run, mostly because I think going dark side and upsetting Karth adds such interesting, unique dialogue that I've missed out on so many years of playing this game. So, let's go over the goals. Wherever we're allowed to be solo, character will be solo. When we are forced into having a companion, we focus on doing whatever we need to make sure that we get rid of them, whether that means completing their story, or even just setting ourselves to solo mode when having companions. And then of course, for those companions that are forced to be with us, we unequip all of their items, leave their clothes on, but make sure that they have no weapons. There will be one sort of exception to all of the listed above, since we are going dark side. Towards the end of the game, we will be required to side with Bastila, since we want the evil side ending and reclaim our mantle as Darth Revan. This will require Bastila to run around with us, including the Start Forge. Setting ourselves to solo isn't really feasible in this location since there's just a lot of load screens, and she will use her force powers from time to time. However, by this point in the game, we will be so powerful and geared out that this will be negligible to assisting us. So let's begin the game. We play our opening credits and are rudely awoken to the Sith invading the Endar Spire. Our beloved Trask Olga will wake us up and tell us to throw on some pants and get to it. On the Endar Spire, we're forced to keep Trask with us, but we make him useless by unequipping all of his weapons and just chugging along. Our intelligence here is so low that even at the end of the Endar Spire, I realize I shouldn't use the computer terminal and the droid repair to get past the big group in the end. Although picking up this prototype Vibroblade is going to be so important for the next few hours. So we get through the Endar Spire, we grab Karth, we crash, have our nightmare, wake up, and are forced to bring on Karth to face off against our first Sith Gestapo. After this initial quarrel and threaten the people that we just saved, we're able to get rid of Karth and start our dark side, maniacal laughter, evil twirly mustache playthrough. Essentially, throughout Taris, I avoid big packs of anything. We pick all of our evil options, amounting to just getting most people killed and gathering some credits. However, whenever we are faced off against any packs, we do die at least 2 times before getting the right rolls to win or utilize some stims to survive. Stimulants here, honestly, are the only thing that's going to get us through this entire run, and you're going to see it being a constant thing that comes back up over and over again. By the time we reach the lower city, we're dying to every Volker pack, and I'm starting to question if this run is even possible, which causes us to pivot in our strategy here. In the Blasters only run, we could rely on pack of 3 people and get some lucky rolls, item uses, and just get through side quests to over-level ourselves and get that added EXP. In this run, we have to turn to focusing on the main story questline over anything else, at least until we've had our build more rounded out. Which goes well except with a few case moments in the sewers and at the Volker base. Well, okay, this one stupid droid at the Volker base. Outside of that, Taris goes well, and we are just an evil bastard right up until our ego is absolutely checked at the end of the Sith military base. One issue here that I did not foresee is our build has terrible wisdom saving throws, which means Jedi powers against us are going to absolutely wreck us. Now, I can defend myself by saying impossible difficulty was going to make this a problem no matter what, but we attempted this fight tons of times before we finally got lucky. How? Well, not just avoiding his stasis force power, but also landing an absolutely lucky critical strike to stun him. This stun here then allows us to get all the attacks we need to claim victory. This is something that we will need to repeat when we eventually get to Kalo Nord and Davik, which also for the first time had me researching this fight to discover that not only do you just need to defeat one of them, but Kalo Nord actually has a less total health pool than Davik, so focusing on him is the best way to victory. Ironic in a beautiful way that Kalo survives. After Taris, we reach Dantooine, where we avoid all of our friends, lie to the Council, and eventually become a Jedi Guardian.
There's a blue crystal for your lightsaber. Go speak to Master Jar again, and he will instruct you in how to construct it.
With our task to clear the Grove, we actually get to complete this quest the same way I did accidentally in 2003, and that is by killing Juhani. It took me another playthrough 22 years ago to find out that she was actually recruitable and would join your party. From there, we do a few side quests, and we do a few of them just here and there for some extra EXP, and then eventually we find the Mandalorians on Dantooine, and we realize very quickly that they are not worth the effort. Then progress, and now we are forced to bring Bastila to the star map area. Now, we have learned from our previous playthroughs at this point, so we make sure to use our solo stealth abilities to attack the Guardian droids. And we made sure to switch back to our physical weapons so that we can make sure that we can actually kill them instead of just sitting there, just taking free blaster fire and fire and cold attacks. After we kill them, answer some questions, we discover the star map. And just like that, we're back to exploring the beautiful worlds of KOTOR 1. Now, our order of planets will be different than our previous playthrough, not just because I need a change of pace, but at this point I've decided I don't really want anyone else to even tag along, so prioritizing companions isn't really necessary, and since we're evil, Korriban seemed to be the right move here to start off our journey. Once we arrive, we threaten people, get some people murdered, fight Juhani's ex-girlfriend.
So you do not even have the decency to remember me.
And then get accepted into the College of the Sith, where we are now required to get enough prestige. Since our build has low charisma and low intelligence, most people think we're either too dumb or way too awkward while speaking to even engage in some quests. Lasho here is a bully. So we go off and we solo our way through killing some students who throw absolute hands, and take about 5 attempts to kill a Terran tech, just to prove to ourselves that our build does actually work. Then, we end up doing every temple in the valley because all of these items that we get here are dark side restricted and are better than anything we're going to get for a few worlds. Of course, this involves us using our wits like running past droids, popping energy shields like candy, and just being a beast in Sith Jeopardy.
That time again, Miko. Ah! Well, look at that. Poor Miko has gone and died on us.
Then, of course, we need to betray Uthar by double-crossing him so we can make Uthura the Academy leader. I honestly don't know why, but Uthura always just seems like the better Sith to me and should be running the Academy. From there, we get to the Tomb of Nagasato, and we learn from our mistakes from our last playthrough, and just focus on getting to the end where the star map is. We absolutely beast the double Terran text through the use of insanity proccing, and then proceed to blow ourselves up because we have 0 points in awareness and we literally can't see mines. This will be a reoccurring trend. From here, we learn to quick save way more. So we kill the Terranetics again, and we find the star map. And then we put Uthura in power, who for some reason has to be an idiot and try to fight us, so we have to kill her like a true Sith Lord, and then we have to fight our way through the Academy again. This allows us to discover a new fun movement glitch / game-breaking bug. When we enter the Academy, we just get absolutely yeeted by force push out through the loading screen, which causes us to be unable to move. And all of my troubleshooting, like quick traveling, which is hysterical that once you actually leave the Academy, you can actually just leave and fast travel back to the Ebon Hawk. We try using a companion to try and get us to move, and then we also try enabling and disabling VSync. None of these things work. So we have to charge in after reloading a different save and make sure that we just don't get yeeted. We kill everyone for this transgression. Take that, Lasha. So from Korriban, we end up on Tatooine, because I realized I really want to do the Geno Haradan questline, and not just because it's evil as hell, but also because there's like a belt and gloves, and it's just going to be another nice gear stopgap before we get the best in slot items. Tatooine as a whole is honestly very quick when you're an evil bastard, and we don't even bother buying HK-47 because we just head straight to the Sand People with the intent on murdering everyone, old Anakin style. We do require a quick save scum to get the good proc on the Sand People's leader, but we do just get his gaffy stick. Then we end up killing a dragon and getting 2 pearls instead of 1 because greed is a vibe this run. Find the star map, and then we get the hell out of here. Finally, we get the datapad to start the Geno questline, and we head to Manan. And then, like an absolute idiot, I actually don't read the correct quest descriptions and end up doing all of Kashyyyk because I don't realize that the shapeshifter we need to kill is in the first part of the forest and not the part with the star map. So either way, I still love this quest line. It's clever, but is sort of built around the idea of doing it solo, so there's nothing too crazy to note as we take all of these assassins out. Doing Kashyyyk halfway through Manan ends up being fine. I mean, we do have to go kill Freyr and then get Zalbar to agree that slavery is financially stable for him as long as he remains part of the upper class caste system that they have in place. And then we end up ending this by being picked up onto the Leviathan. So like halfway through Manan, go to Kashyyyk and boom, Leviathan now. The Leviathan as a whole is pretty damn easy at this point. We do pick T3 to break us out, mostly because it's very easy because of where he starts, but I also forgot that his escape is based on math problems, so I get to test my math skills, and then I die because I haven't remembered the Fibonacci sequence since college. Now, we do leave Bastila and Karth once we become a trio again, and this is while we're running around and exterminating the entire ship. Eventually, we do kill Saul, where our two bonehead companions die immediately by just being breathed on, mostly because I didn't level them up and didn't put any gear on them. And then from there, we get our big reveal, and immediately embrace being Darth Revan, juice the hell up like it's a bodybuilding competition, and then absolutely show the power of our build by slapping Malak around like a T-ball with a metal baseball bat. Bastila, for some reason, gets involved, we have to dip, tell Karth to just shut up, and continue on to Manan. I do want to say that on Manan, we do get to do the Selkath questline this time, inside the Sith Embassy. But this Sith Lord, with his two Selkath buddies, students, apprentices, may be the most unfair set of saving throws that I've ever faced off with. And of course, after we finally win, we step on a landmine and have to do it all over again. From here, we proudly dive deep into the ocean, kill everyone, including the locker guy.
No, you can't harm me in here. I'm invincible. Ah!
And these two nerds. Then, because we now have a negative experience with math, we choose to just poison the entire ocean here, kill a god shark, find the star map, and then almost get away with blaming the Sith for it. But we get rejected, or ejected, from Manan, and we can finally head to the Starforge system. Of course, we do buy a few things and kill some space pirates first. The Starforge system. We've made it. And we're on this tropical island. Instead of trying to speedrun our way through here, we choose to help the Rakatan warband by killing the elders and the One, and then grab this ancient tome encyclopedia thing. The warband agrees to help us, and Jolie annoyingly joins us inside the Rakatan Sith temple. We do die here to some mines, and I also think cold damage in the lower level. I do think this is a restored content mod thing, because we're just like taking damage, unless I use this cold serum we find in the area. But there's literally nothing indicating that this is a thing, it's happening, and honestly I just took this aside to vent because I was very annoyed by this. We do, however, get the last crystals we need for our double lightsaber build, and we are absolutely decked out and end up eviscerating Bastila once we find her. She of course gets slapped hard by us, and is like, whoa, you're totally stronger than Malak, and we should just like kill Jolie. And I'm like, well, one West Mouth defeat on the Ebon Hawk does sound pretty awesome. So we kill him, betray the party, Karth ends up running away, and then we have an important decision. Zalbar says he wants to honor his life debt to us, but Mission says we won't kill her if she doesn't attack first. Challenge accepted. Zalbar doesn't like this, which I'm down for, and we kill them both. So in the end, we end up just me, Bastila, T3, and Canderous. Which, shout out to Canderous for being a true friend. Like, this line is bad in context, but out of context is really accepting, and that warms Revan's cold and evil heart just enough to keep him alive.
Light side, dark side, it doesn't make any difference to me, Revan. I'll stick by you no matter what comes.
So now it's finally time to betray the Republic. We get to the Starforge, juice up like it's the 2025 NPC bodybuilding competition, drag Bostel along, and kill every single thing on our way, only stopping to pick up our original robes that made us think the dark side is pretty cool back in 2003. We then fight the most lackluster pre-boss fight trio of these off-brand Sith Power Rangers, and then we tell Bostel to keep up the meditation chants, and we'll make our way over to Malak. From here, we are ready to end this, mano-e mano. Malak does still hit hard, but we hit even harder. After our first clash, we both agree to just go take our Gatorade Jedi packets on each side of the battlefield before reconvening. And with a sneaky sneak attack moment, we jump our old apprentice and cut him down. And with that, we are greeted by arguably such a worse ending than the light side ending, but hey, we did it. We completed our Loneliest Jedi run on impossible difficulty. All in all, I would say that this run took me significantly less time than the Blasters Only run, but I'd also argue it was multiple times more challenging. Because being by yourself really just tells you to modify your strategy and just try again. The dice system RPG really can be random, and as long as you're willing to do the encounter again, you should be able to win eventually, as long as you're playing smart and utilizing all the augmentations you can. I will say that this was the most fun I've had playing KOTOR recently, but really only due to the fact that without companions, the game's just lonely and ends up being quicker. There really isn't any reason to linger or even backtrack, since outside of the Gino Haradan quest, you don't ever have to travel back to a planet for someone. But if you don't actually enjoy the gameplay of KOTOR, I don't know if this run would be for you. But woo! Another KOTOR challenge done. If you've made it this far, I do want to say thank you so much for watching. And, as always, I love hearing what you think of KOTOR and any fun runs, builds, and or stories you have about the game. I do have one more video planned for this universe, and if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know what it is. So, I hope to see you in that one. Again, thank you, and I'll see you next time.